All right, there's the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our retro pay-per-view review series. It's going to be WCW Uncensored 1997. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. Let's hope this one is a little better than the last one we had.
No, no, it is.
March
It is.
March 16th, 1997, Charleston, South Carolina. Capacity crowd 9,285 for the tagline. You'll never see it coming. God, I hope not. You had Tony Schiavone, Dusty Rhodes, Bobby Heenan, and on occasion Mike Tenay doing the commentary.
Yeah, they brought Mike Tenay in for certain stuff, which was good because you don't want
Mainly
to.
the cruiserweights and the
He was
international wrestlers.
he was always good at that stuff because he knew everything about them.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing I'll get into it later on the tornado match, how Dusty Rhodes practically, split his pants there, laughing up a storm during the match.
No, he was annoying me, but
I love the guy as a wrestler.
I
But,
do.
but as a commentator,
Yeah, I never.
hell no. Anyway, let's get on to it. Opening match for the WCW United States Championship. It was Eddie Guerrero defending the title against Dean Malenko.
Before the match, though, they show how Rick Steiner was taken out, right? Or was that after the match?
It
I
was
forget.
during the match.
Oh, actually during the match.
Yeah, the match was like a couple of minutes in, and then they say that they got commotion in the back.
Yeah.
And Rick Steiner is laid out, and Hall, Nash, and Six are standing over him.
Because remember before that they had ran the Steiners off the road.
I remember seeing
Hall and Nash.
I remember seeing that on Nitro, and I'm like, oh god.
And I think that was one of those spots that they only showed a couple times. They didn't show it a lot.
No.
I guess because it's I mean it's a show, but I guess maybe it was kind of bad because it's like they're running them off the road.
It's vehicular manslaughter almost.
Yeah, they could have killed him. I mean, it's a story, but
I know it's a
I
story.
just don't remember. I just remember like they didn't show this a lot. Like after
they
it happened.
they aired it the next night on Nitro. I remember seeing it again when they were talking about Uncensored.
But even going forward, like I don't remember seeing this like in NWO documentaries and stuff. I don't really remember.
No, not this part of it. No.
Yeah, so
they left out a few things. Not this one was one of them.
Yeah.
This match was actually, it was pretty good. You're always going to get the best once Malenko and Guerrero are fighting. And this is now two cruiserweights that are actually fighting for a major heavyweight championship. Mm-hmm. Obviously not being number one contender, but it was good to see that they came out of the cruiserweight division to do this. And they left it all in the ring. It was a great match. It really was, until Six shows up. And he's over there with his camcorder and whatnot. And that camcorder actually plays into the outcome of the match because this is a no disqualification match.
I wonder if that was the same camcorder the Outsiders used when they ran the Steiners off the road. Maybe it was, right?
It's possible. I know because Six was doing the recording.
Oh yeah, probably was. It probably was. I always liked Six, man. Like I was never a huge Sean Waltman fan, but for some reason I liked him as Six. I didn't like him as X-Pac, but as Six.
As X-Pac, it was like a watered down version of Six.
Yeah.
So what he could get away with Hall and Nash there.
This is a forgotten match though, man. Like people don't really talk about this match, but it was, like you said, until the end.
This match was great until Six comes down. Malenko, I don't even think he realized it because he looked at it later on. He used the camcorder on Guerrero, pinned him, and won the championship. And then after the match, realized, what the hell did I just do?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
I always like Malenko's theme song too.
Yes.
Yeah, I like this
theme song. The Man of 1,000 Holes.
Yeah. But Jericho's.
I love
the Man of 1,001.
I love that segment.
Hole. Armbar.
God, and then they would go to commercial, and he's about move number 727.
The Saskatchewan
double suplex.
Yeah.
Next one.
And he would go back to
armbar. That was one of the best skits they ever did, man, with Jericho. That was classic stuff. I miss that stuff now. I don't know. And I know a lot of people do.
Oh yeah.
I've heard from a lot of people that say how they miss the old school style wrestling from the
promos and even the promos for that matter. Yeah.
Exactly, and the vignettes and all of that. So now Malenko is the United States champion going forward. Eddie Guerrero's now lost second year in a row in the U.S. title match. Only this time he actually lost the title. Our next match was the Ultimate Dragon or Ultimo Dragon, whatever you want to call them. They used both against Psychosis.
It's another great match.
Yes, it is. And I don't know about you. I love Sonny Ono. That little shit. He was just funny. He's taking pictures.
He did a selfie. He did a selfie before selfies were even a thing. With his camera. Yeah.
I love Sonny Ono and everything he did.
He has some great kicks, man. That guy.
Oh yeah.
He kicks, man.
He's a martial artist.
Yeah, he's legit. Did he train? No, he didn't train Bischoff. I think it was Ernest the Cat Miller. I think.
Yeah,
trained Bischoff. I think.
And it wasn't too long ago we did a pay-per-view where he was the referee for Ming and Duggan, where he was serious Ono. This is cut up Ono.
I used to always pick Ultimo Dragon in the WCW video game for N64. Yeah. Was he in both of them?
I know he was in World Tour. And the other one was I could Revenge. See it because yes, I love that one too.
Yeah. Oh, that's the greatest. To me, this is the greatest wrestling video game of all time, as far as I'm concerned. I know people.
WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy.
But I feel like Revenge laid the groundwork for those games. Did. So to me, that's the iconic game. But World Tour, I remember I used to pick Ultimo Dragon.
It's funny that they had only 2 entrances for that game: a heel entrance and a babyface entrance team, and that was it. I was always Goldberg. In the Revenge, always Goldberg.
Yeah, it was classic.
Those were awesome games.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I still have it, still play it. So this match, again, this was another good one.
I think it's Ultimo Dragon that has a crazy spot where he does the leg drop outside the ring. I think it's Ultimo Dragon. When he does the leg drop outside the ring.
Yeah, he actually before I even get to this match, because I wanted to get to this match because it was so good. I forgot to mention that Mean Gene had interviewed Piper and his teammates. Your boy Mongo, your boy Jarrett, and Benoit.
You know what I'm going to say?
Broke 6,000
guitars, never drew a dime.
But unfortunately, I am not going to speak ill of Mongo because of everything that he's going through.
Yeah. Hopefully,
God bless him.
He gets better. I mean, he was but I mean, he wasn't a great wrestler, but
no, he wasn't.
But on the personal side, we really hope that he's all right. See, I completely forgot that Jeff Jarrett was even part of the Four Horsemen.
It was a cup of coffee. Literally, because he was there for a short time, because then he bounced back to WWE.
But he was still a horseman, unbelievably. Although there's a dispute whether he really was, but Flair said he was a horseman, so he was a horseman, and he won that match where Mongo was saying he wasn't a horseman, but he won the match and he was a horseman. But he looked like that outfit, that Chippendales outfit he had, looked like it didn't fit in with those guys.
No, it didn't.
Like, why wouldn't they switch up his gear to match the horseman?
Exactly.
Why would they have him in that stupid white thing with the
This was 1995 Music City, Jeff.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Because in the main event, when he started facing Scott Hall, first thing I'm thinking is Royal Rumble 95.
I don't understand it. And
I don't either. They should have changed up the outfit.
Jeff Jarrett in the NWO was like Tori and DX. Like, it happened, but nobody acknowledged it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but they don't acknowledge it. You ever hear anybody say Tori was part of DX? No. Like, she never, like...
That was the downfall of DX, unfortunately. That was the bad times. That was DX 2.0.
Yeah, but, I don't want to... I could be here for shitting on Jeff Jarrett, but... no,
that's allowed.
But the promo, overall was good between, with...
It was, and Piper's wondering, I need horsemen. Where's
guys.
Flair? Where's Anderson?
Yeah, well, they were hurt.
They were hurt, unfortunately.
Arn especially, because Arn had that nerve.
Yeah, his neck was shot.
Yeah,
Yeah. And, he's like, I get these guys. Can I trust these guys? And I'll go over the stipulations once we get to that match as far as what the teams get. But back to the other match. At one point during the match, Sonny Ono does get involved attacking Psychosis, which kind of took away from the match a little bit. Not too much, but it was very aerial, very good. Ultimo Dragon wins with the Tiger Suplex pin and gets the 3 count. And pretty soon after this, not too long down the road, he will be away from Sonny Ono and on his own. But Sonny Ono was just great in WCW.
Yeah, he was awesome. He's underrated.
So following this match, I love this segment. I really do, because these two guys had the feud of the year.
Feud of the year, underrated feud, man. I mean, people know about it, but I'm just
not to mention seeing Elizabeth being as sassy as she was, and doing what she was. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you had it in you, girl.
The thing is that in '97, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle to a degree when you think about Brett and Shawn, and then you think about Hogan and Sting. But this feud was tremendous, and this is what made DDP.
Yes. Mean Gene comes out. He's interviewing Diamond Dallas Page about Randy Savage. Savage comes out. He's up in the balcony area with Elizabeth, and they got the Playboy Celebrities issue, and they scroll through.
Yeah.
Naturally, they have it written, NWO blacked out. Thanks a lot, Savage. Yeah. To Kimberly, who's on the centerfold, and Kimberly then comes out crying. All of a sudden, Savage comes out of nowhere from behind. You'll never see it coming. He hits Paige. They spray paint Paige. They spray paint Elizabeth spray paints Kimberly and gets on the microphone. But I love how Savage is going, no, I like this guy. He's a cool dude. Yeah. And I'm like, I really like this Savage in NWO because even
I like Savage with the black and white. Him with the black and white with the madness. I think he had the madness thing on, right? Did he? Or was that later on?
A little later on.
Later on, yeah.
But even when they did the NWO interview skit by themselves later on, how he was, it was cool. It added to it. It was nice.
Yeah.
And again, this feud was just classic. So now from moving on to the next match, unfortunately, was a martial arts match. Straight out of the game of Mortal Kombat.
Sub-Zero versus Reptile, right?
Seriously. With one showing up after the match.
Yeah.
There was Glacier versus Mortis, a.k.a. Chris Kanyon, unfortunately. I wish it would have just been Chris Kanyon because the guy was wasted to being Mortis. The Mortis, tons of talent.
The Mortis character, I didn't think it was bad. It was just that
this whole thing was cheesy.
No, it was. It's just that WCW was moving in a more like realistic style with the NWO, so it was like it didn't.
That's what Bischoff had said. He said that Vince was cartoon character.
Right.
I'm serious, but yet you're coming out with two guys that look like from Mortal Kombat.
Right. So Mortis. I mean, Glacier was a legit martial artist, though.
Yeah, he was.
But he was a big guy too. He was very stocky. The entrances, I guess, were cool. I mean,
yeah, I remember when Glacier was so broke, he had to sell all his stuff.
No, that's
and then in 2000, there's like Glacier returns again, and nobody cared. But I mean, this match was okay. The fans were 50-50, I guess you could say, into it. It pretty much
history. Apparently, it had some sort of a history that nobody knows about.
Yeah, I don't. Because this feud also was like the Ahmed Johnson Farouk thing; it just ran too long, and then you add somebody to it in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So, this was typical. Vandenberg was holding Glacier. Mortis goes for the kick. He misses, hits Vandenberg. Glacier then hits his. He gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. And then, so Glacier wins the match. But then all of a sudden, here comes a guy. They don't know who it is, but obviously we do because we've seen it. It was Wrath.
Yeah, a.k.a. Adam Bomb.
Don't knock him, man. He was a good wrestler. Just cheesy gimmicks.
Yeah.
I liked him when he was Brian Clark and they had Chronic. That was a pretty good tag team for the time of WCW just being totally trash.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just bad timing. But
yeah, exactly. But I mean, you're going with another cheesy gimmick with this guy. He came off of Adam Bomb. Now he's Wrath.
Yeah. And he has a history apparently with Glacier too.
Yeah, they all have a history. Yeah, they're all playing video games together. So Glacier and Mortis had beat him down. So this is unfortunately not the last we're going to see of this. So now after this match is what we had just talked about earlier. They did the flashback to the Steiner's car chase. Oh my God. And they're bumping him, and you see Rick, Scott Steiner sticking his head out the window.
Yeah.
And then, Rick, they get outside and Rick's looking at him, and all of a sudden they hit the embankment and they're like, oh man, we need to get out of here. We got let's go. Shut that off. Oh my God. So now Rick Steiner's out of the main event, so it's a 4-on-4-on-3. So you pretty much know where this night's going. Why they couldn't get somebody to replace him, because they had mentioned that DDP could do it. Why they didn't get somebody to replace him, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. They just
So now our next match was a strap match between two former tag team partners. It was Scotty Riggs versus Buff Bagwell. American Males No More.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm buff and I'm the stuff.
Yep.
I love the gimmick back then. It was just
Nah, it was good. He was good. I always liked him.
working at Blockbuster back then. We had a few guys that would actually come in to work and they would come in doing that. And I'm like, all right, dude, just clock in and hurry up. We're busy. We ain't got time for the post now.
For the entrances.
Now this match was all right. The fans were kind of bored during this. Can't say I blame them.
Yeah.
This because it's not because of Bagwell, it's because of Riggs. Riggs is not a guy that people truly cheered for. American Males wasn't somebody they truly cheered for. This was like Bagwell's 7th different tag team partner.
He's the king of the tag teams.
Seriously.
American Males,
Stars and Stripes, Vicious and Delicious, Scorpio, because they really didn't have a name. I mean, it just goes on and on. Now, this match was all right. Now, it got a little crazy when Riggs went over the top rope and looked like he hung himself with the strap. And then of course, Dusty, he's like, oh, he done broke his back. And he really did, because he looked like a pretzel. He's completely out. I love how Bagwell just, oh, hold on, let me take the strap off and readjust this. So then he goes and hits the first 3 turnbuckles, and then with his ass hits the 4th one. Cocky bastard. But Buff Bagwell gets the victory over Scotty Riggs. Please, like he was going to lose. So there's the end of that match. Thank you, God. The next spot they did after this was the NWO spot. They guaranteed victory, talking about Dennis Rodman and stuff. And I remember one of the things that Rodman did. I loved it. He goes, I just do this when I'm bored. Hollywood Hogan has got this, nailed down. I'm just here when I need something to do. And I'm like, you little shit. But he was good at it.
Yeah, Rodman at the time, WWE was trying to get him to show up at WrestleMania. So I think WrestleMania was in Chicago that year. And
13 was.
And he was on the Bulls. But Rodman had a relationship with Hogan already previously. They were friends. He was a big fan of Hogan.
It was better off this way. I couldn't see what Vince would have done with Rodman.
I don't know, but he obviously had been in WCW before. He had been in Hogan's corner and everything. So they gave him a really good offer, and he ended up choosing to go over to the WCW.
It worked out.
Yeah, and this pay-per-view actually does better than WrestleMania 13, believe it or not, in terms of buy rate.
Yes, it does. Well, this is where they're really killing WWE at this time, because the NWO is just on fire.
The tide is turning, for sure. I didn't care for this NWO promo though. I thought it went on a little long.
This was the one where I was saying that Savage was cutting the jokes and stuff.
Yeah, and Hogan and.
Yeah, they weren't being interviewed. They were just standing there talking to each other.
Yeah, it was like little.
Yeah, it was a couple of minutes too long. I got to agree. So following that skit was the Texas Tornado match, which again nobody cared for, and unfortunately, unless these guys were in ECW, nobody gave a crap about them.
No.
And in WWE, it was so bad they had to walk out and get their contract ripped up because nobody wanted them there. And I'm talking about Public Enemy, Johnny Gruns and Rocco Rock.
They were the poor man's, I guess, Dudley Boys, I guess. I mean, even though they were in ECW also.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would describe it. That's what they were, at least in WCW, that's what they were trying.
They were huge. They were huge in ECW.
Right.
With their song Hot Stepper. They come out with the tables, the fans, the whole crowd will get into it. They were one of the really good tag teams of ECW, but unfortunately when they went to where the big boys play,
it didn't.
Nobody cared, and WWE was even worse.
Yeah.
Like they just pissed those guys off.
They were only there for 2 seconds too. They were there for a cup of coffee, and that was it.
At least here, they were here for a little bit.
Yeah, they were there for a couple of years, I think, right?
About a year, I believe.
Yeah. All right. Well.
And of course, you have the feud. The Texas Tornado match with Harlem Heat. Sister Sherry coming down, and they talked about the match that they had with the Nasty, not the Nasty Boys. I'm sorry, the one with Sting and Book had. Well,
that was actually a good match, though.
It really was. That was probably the best match of the night.
Yeah.
And this match wasn't bad, except that too many recycled aluminum pans and stuff. And this is where Dusty is just laughing it up, and Bobby and Tony couldn't talk because he is just. Like he's at a comedy club. He was just going crazy on this. He was laughing pretty much about the toilet seat being used. because it's around his
Right,
neck.
right. Yeah. I don't know. Just it was just overkill with the laugh.
I was like, Dusty, turn his mic off. Tell him to calm down.
I did laugh when Sherry hits did she hit Booker T or Stevie Ray by accident?
Oh, yeah, the botched move with Stevie Ray, yeah. And then he quickly no-sold it, and then she talked to him, and he just went, "No, that's good." Yeah, I noticed that botch, and that was funny. The match itself was all right. Again, it was hardcore, what Public Enemy is used to, hardcore with recyclable pans. But you get what's funny on this one is Mongo and Jarrett came down, and they said that they were originally supposed to be in the match before the main event was signed, and they were pulled out. And so they come down. Mongo hits Rocco Rock with the little briefcase he's got there, or whatever he calls it. And Booker T does the Harlem Hangover and gets the pin on Public Enemy. So Harlem Heat gets the victory on this one. So the next thing they did was Mean Gene interviewed Lex Luger, the Giant, and Scott Steiner on their upcoming match. They didn't get a fourth member, I have no idea.
I think it was just to get a little more heat on them on the NWO. Like they took out one of their team members. The odds are already against them.
Like they didn't have enough to begin with.
I know, but I guess that was
with the constant 84-1 beat down every week on Nitro.
The Giant was god awful on the mic here.
Oh yeah,
he was early. I mean, I guess he was still kind of green though, as far as promos and stuff. But
yeah, because they would talking about how a year before he was Rookie of the Year, and then they said how you used to be in the NWO. He goes, used to be. Hold my beer. How many times am I going to be in and out? So they're talking about the upcoming match and everything. So watching, even if you watch this live, they're not winning.
No. The stipulations. Once you heard the stipulations,
once you hear them, you know where they're going.
So
now our next match, I think, was too far down the card because by this point the fans also didn't care about this one. This would have been fine in the opening couple of matches. This was for the World Television title. It was Prince Iaukea, who's still green himself. He hasn't been there that long, and he's already champion, defending the title against Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't go this far up the card with these guys because the fans are looking at it like, yeah, no, I was supposed to watch you 2 hours ago. And this match was pretty good.
Nobody liked Prince Iaukea either.
No.
Nobody cared.
Well, exactly. Well, he just got there and he became champion. It's like they didn't even have time to know who this dude was. And then they wind up killing his gimmick by calling him the Artist later on, formerly known as Iaukea. It was stupid. But this match ends in a draw to start.
Yeah.
They raised it to a 15-minute time limit. Mysterio said, "No, you're gonna, give me more time." And I'm like, "What are we in an Avengers movie here? What is this?"
Well, speaking of Avengers, he had the red and blue Spider-Man outfit on. That's the one that I used to pick in the video game in World Tour.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
Yeah.
But I just love how this is a time limit contractual match, but all of a sudden I just time. Go, oh yeah, tell the referee, ring the bell.
Yeah, more time. Yeah.
So a few more minutes into it, and it ended in a time limit draw. But Mysterio did the springboard off the rope into a Hurricanrana that Iaukea reversed into a pin, and Iaukea keeps the television title.
Iaukea beats Rey Mysterio Jr.
And nobody was into it. I just got that vibe that nobody. If this match was maybe the first couple that
earlier, yeah.
But by now it should be the heavyweights that are fighting. So now, speaking of overpaid heavyweights, the main event is a triangle elimination match. You can win by pinfall, submission, or being thrown over the top rope. Now this has 4 rounds. And I'll get to the rules in a minute, but here's the stipulations for each team. This is where it gets totally, what the hell are we doing? If each team, if a team WCW won, all titles held by the NWO would be stripped, and its members would not be allowed to wrestle for 3 years. Okay, well, you already know they're going to win.
Yeah.
There's no way we're not going to see Hulk Hogan for 36 months. If Piper's team won, Piper gets Hogan in a cage. I'm sorry, but if I'm Piper and if I win, I want a title shot. I don't just want you in the cage. I want the belt. You just want him in a cage? What the hell kind of stipulation is this? And if the NWO won, they get any title match they desire at any time of their choosing for whatever titles they didn't already have. So now that we know that, Michael Buffer discussed that there were going to be 4 rounds. The first round was 5 minutes, 1 member of each team. Every round after that, it was every 2 minutes. Sounded like war games at first here, where another individual would come in. So we started with Chris Benoit, Scott Hall, and the Giant. First one to be eliminated, the Giant. Eliminates himself. Goes into the corner and flips himself over the turnbuckle. Yeah, bum. Round 2, you had Jeff Jarrett, Randy Savage, and Lex Luger.
You know what's funny? So they introduced everybody representing Team WCW and whatever faction that they were involved in, right? They were with. When they introduced Jeff Jarrett, they say representing WCW, but they never say the 4 Horsemen. I don't know if they screwed up.
The NWO was the only one that actually got music going forward through this.
Yeah. I don't know if they screwed
up. Nobody
up.
Else did. They probably did.
Or they didn't recognize them as a 4 Horsemen, or I don't know. But either way.
They even screwed up at the end when these guys were coming out, because after Piper comes out and Hogan's still not there,
right?
The clock
starts up again. Yeah,
and I'm like, what do we get on the 5th round here? Hogan get a bye? But as these guys are in there, the second one now to be eliminated was Jeff Jarrett.
See ya.
Over the top rope clothesline by Kevin Nash.
No loss there. Broke 6,000 guitars. Never drew a dime.
Round 3, Steve Mongo McMichael, Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner. Who's the next one to go out? Steve Mongo McMichael.
See ya.
Scott Hall, over the top rope back body drop. Bye-bye. Round 4 now had no time limit, and it had Piper and Hogan. Hogan came out with Dennis Rodman. So
Rozilla.
Yep. So now you had Scott Steiner was the next one eliminated, over the top rope by Kevin Nash. Piper goes out now over the top rope when Rodman pulled the rope down. So now Piper's team is screwed. Luger's team pretty much is screwed. The NWO is at full force at this point.
Yeah.
Benoit's the next one to go out, thanks to Hall and Nash over the top rope. Now this is where I really liked it. All of a sudden, Lex Luger, became like he was Hulk Hogan.
Like a House of Fire. Yep.
Randy Savage submits to the torture rack. Kevin Nash over the top rope clothesline. Right after that, Scott Hall torture rack, and the whole place is going, holy shit! But this is WCW. He's not going to win.
Yeah.
Why? Because he was pinned after Savage hit Luger in the head with a spray can, thanks to Dennis Rodman, who had it in his jacket. And then Piper's getting beat down outside by Hogan, Savage, and Rodman. Rodman's beating down Luger. And so now Hulk Hogan is the sole survivor of this thing, naturally. So they're going to get every title shot they want with what they don't have. But what made this night interesting, and Savani actually acted like a Nitro in this, because after it happened, it was like, oh, we got 30 seconds, we got to go, it's Sting. And I was like, wait a minute, no, you're supposed to do that tomorrow night. Sting descends down from the rafters, has his baseball bat, points at Hogan. Now, this isn't the infamous one where Hogan gets scared at the point where Bagwell's trying to calm him down. This is the one where Rodman's telling him to laugh it off. He's like, you don't worry about him. Because Hogan's now like, I'll get in the ring. Now, this is after Sting beat down gave everybody a Scorpion Death Drop.
And I think...
And took them all out.
I'm not sure, but I think this was Sting's first physical altercation, right? Since he had gone
before this, it was just you see him in the rafters. That was it. But this is where he's finally now starting to get involved in everything. And so now Hogan's going to get in the ring, and he said, "Drop the bat." You won't drop the bat. He drops the bat.
He drops the bat.
And Hogan's like, "Oh, wait a minute! I didn't think you were going to drop the bat." And Sting finally gets his hands on Hogan. Everybody's going nuts, and then of course Savani, we got to go. We're out of time.
Yeah.
So
Isn't he Scorpion Death dropped everybody, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He got Nash, he got Savage, he got Hall.
Yeah. It was great stuff. It
was awesome.
That was a great ending. Even though the match ending wasn't the greatest.
It was garbage.
But Sting coming out kind of saves it. And I did like the whole Lex Luger versus the NWO. That worked. But
that was a house of fire.
Yeah.
And those are three, big guys
but I
that
thought
he was able to take out.
I thought up until that point the match wasn't that good just because there were just too many people in there.
It was. This
It was a mess. It was like chaotic.
This should have been like a two ring because you have it's supposed to be 12 wrestlers.
Yeah, it just felt a little chaotic, but in the end, it worked out. It was
a team battle royal, pretty much. That's all it was.
Pretty much, yeah.
There was no way you were going to get a pin with 12 guys in the ring. So the only way you're getting eliminated them is throwing them over the top rope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
but I mean, again, Bischoff tried something new. It wasn't that good, but it ended on a high note at least.
Yeah, so, and I think at this point, Bischoff storyline wise, I think he's suspended. Right,
he's suspended right now. Yeah, so he has no authority in the NWO.
Right. He couldn't pull his antics.
His usual stuff, yeah.
Right, yeah. So overall, I thought it was okay, like you said. It was,
This was the best Uncensored we've seen so far.
Yeah, well, it's not saying much, but yeah, it was.
Well, we got one more to go.
Yeah. All right, well, you guys let us know what you think. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.